Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, I'm going to be trying out a new concept here for the channel and the website. So definitely let me know if you like it or not. I'm open to feedback. So I wrote an article here for the website. Is Diablo Immortal properly designed for long-term success? And then I have like a diagram here, and I talked about the cost of producing the game and some of the challenges that developers face and how Diablo structured things out the gate, just to talk about my thoughts on what it's been like so far and what needs to change, and how everything is in relation to this diagram here for the flow of a healthy and active community. So what I'm thinking is I want, like, at the top of the page to have like video version of this article, where someone can listen instead of having to read if they want. So that's the goal. It's my first time doing it. I won't explain this in every video. I'm just walking you through, since it's new to the channel and new to the site. That's what I'm gonna do here, is go over this article of is Diablo Immortal properly designed for long-term success that I wrote. I'm going to walk you through my thought process while I was putting this together. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so we've got designing a successful mobile game that will be high quality, free to play, and fun and rewarding for players of all spending tiers, while making enough revenue to both justify the investment and future development has proven difficult for developers, leaving many gamers to feel that the gaming environment today, developers are prioritizing maximizing all possible revenue instead of setting out to make an excellent game, with earnings being a side effect of that. So what I mean here is, games have gotten so advanced that the budgets are so high. This isn't like 1996 where you can make a revolutionary game like Diablo 1 on like a budget of 100K. Those days are over. I guess we did see like Minecraft built with one guy on a very small limited budget with trash graphics. Those stories are going to be few and far between. They're not going to be super consistent. You've got games like Valheim that did super well with a small team of like 6 people and a decent budget. But in terms of a massive MMO, constant events and new content coming to the game, these are going to be extremely high budget processes, and they're going to need to generate revenue either from charging people $50-$60 to download the game, or having monetization models in place. But what we're seeing is companies are really prioritizing making sure they get that millions of dollars invested back as soon as possible and start collecting revenue, instead of back in the day, like when you designed Diablo 1, the goal wasn't to make money. The goal was to make a great game, and then making money was a side effect of making a great game. Now we're seeing making a great game be a side effect as opposed to the priority. So then as we scroll down, we've got in the chart pictured, I have displayed a template for all channels that feed into a healthy and active community for a game to enjoy. If certain channels stop flowing, it will have a rippling effect that can lead to the community drying up, similar to how you have a bunch of rivers that feed into an ocean. If those rivers start drying up, that ocean that collects everything is going to start drying up as well, obviously. Since I'm writing this article in the context of Diablo Immortal, now we're going to shift focus to how the release of one of the most hype games ever has gone. So just to explain this diagram here really quickly, we've got mobile game success flow. And in terms of player acquisition, you're going to have content creators, marketing, and natural discovery. For content creators, you're going to have people like myself and Darth Micro and all these great content creators that cover Diablo that are generating views on YouTube and social media that are going to make people interested to try the game. You've got marketing campaigns, which Diablo Immortal has not done near as much as I thought they would, where you'll see like commercials, or they'll pay content creators to talk about their game for like a minute at the start of a video or something like that. And then you'll have natural discovery, which Diablo is going to have a lot of, because Diablo is a huge IP. It has been around since the mid 90s, and there is millions of people that love the Diablo franchise. So really they're doing pretty good here, except for like marketing. They haven't really done a whole lot of it yet, but those are the channels that are going to feed into the new players, and then those new players are going to break off into 3 different tiers. Obviously, this is kind of a simplified form of it, but you're going to have your whales and your spenders and your free to play. So like I would fall into like the spenders. Like I'm willing to spend a decent amount of money on a mobile game, but I'm not one of these Kraken whales that's going to max out resonance in a week or something. And then each one of those tier of players break into 2 categories, either a casual player or a hardcore grinder. So you can have like a whale who's a casual, or you can have a whale who's a hardcore grinder. Each one of those tiers can kind of be either one. And then down here at the bottom, you have got video content and live content feeding up here from your content creators. And then you've also got developer communication and consistent patches that are going to be a very important component of feeding into the middle here as well for the healthy and active gaming community. So how does this relate to Diablo Immortal right now is kind of what I will touch on as we keep reading. With how complicated games have become and all the systems involved, development costs can easily ramp up over $10 million pretty quickly. Developers, artists, coders, infrastructure, hardware, animations, etc. are not free, and many times there is a very long time to wait until those expenditures start paying off. There is no, this is no different for Diablo Immortal, and while it is extremely hard to find concrete numbers on this, my best estimate that I may end up revising if I learn more information is that Diablo Immortal took about 50 to 100 million to develop. I could be, you know, a little bit low or high on that, honestly. Maybe it was 30 million, maybe it was 125 million. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that and do my best to be accurate. And if I end up changing that estimate, I will denote that up here at the very top, you know, previous and then the correction as well. So, you know, we see most of your like AAA mobile type games or big deal games, you get pretty average development costs of somewhere between 50 and 100 million, but you do definitely get outliers that are significantly cheaper, something like Valheim that turns really good revenue with a very cheap budget, and you get things that are super expensive that end up underperforming. That $50 to $100 million development cost seems completely ridiculous on the surface, but Diablo Immortal then went on to generate almost 50 million in revenue in just the first month, without even being available in most Eastern markets. Many gamers around the world feel that Blizzard was too heavy-handed in their monetization model, prioritizing initial launch gains over the long-term health of the community and dedicated fans. If we refer to the chart posted above, we will see the ecosystem of a mobile game basically boils down to 6 types of player because of spending tiers that are whale, spender, and free to play, with the possibility of each one being either casual or hardcore in relation to their in-game activity level. A healthy game will make sure all 6 of those player types feel they have a path to enjoying and progressing in the game. Is Diablo Immortal pulling that off? I would argue that currently the game is mostly catering to the casual whale while completely alienating the hardcore free-to-play and semi-spenders, which has caused a lot of backlash that Blizzard will need to work towards correcting if they want to save the reputation of their first Diablo mobile game. So yeah, what I'm talking about here is you've got up here the different tiers of players. Oh wait, I made that too small. Let me fix my pen here. So yeah, you've got your different tiers of players that split up, and it gives us 6 types of players. So right now they're kind of catering to the casual whale, the link between these two. Your hardcore grinders, because of the caps and stuff that are in place and the nerfs to your Paragon, are not really being rewarded and feel a little bit decentivized from being a hardcore grinder. This is why you see people like the max roll players over there that wanted to move on from the game after just a week. They were already sick of it and tired of playing, because they definitely fall in the hardcore grinder. They want to get out there and play 12 hours a day and be rank 1 on the leaderboard and progress faster than everybody else, and the game isn't really catering to those type of people yet. So you'll see people get very frustrated and want to walk away if they fall in that tier. But then in terms of even the spending tier, definitely not appealing to the free-to-play yet, because of how the legendary gem system works and how it's just completely unrealistic. There's no way to like farm gem powder. There's no way to farm legendary crests or anything. The free-to-play players just don't have an avenue to progress that part of the game. And even your spenders, the spending requirements become exponential. Like, to get the value of your first $500 spent, you have to spend like 2,000. To get the value of your first 2,000, you have to spend like 8,000. To get the value of your first 8,000, you have to spend like 24,000. And it just keeps ramping up exponentially, because the way the gem levels work, you have to use duplicates of the previous levels. So it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And I think they overshot it. It's a little bit too crazy, to the point where it's not even appealing to the spenders like myself that are willing to throw money at a good gaming experience if it means a fun game. But they're really only appealing to the whale side of things in the current structure of how Diablo Immortal was in the first month of launch. Then we go down here for the last couple sections of how do they pull that off. Well, for starters, they will need to alleviate some of the caps in the game that demoralize people from grinding for progress, and give a realistic path for acquiring legendary gems without spending thousands of dollars. There are tons of other things that would help, but simply starting with those 2 things would be an amazing start. And yeah, I think if they simply remove some of these oppressive caps, people would be like, okay, I might not be able to spend a ton of money, but at least I can grind. At least there's a path forward for me to feel like I'm progressing. But the caps just completely destroy anybody who's in that mindset. So then we've got, in conclusion, it is just a fact of life that high development cost games, which are free to play, will have to generate a lot of revenue and thus cater at least somewhat to the gamers that enjoy spending money to facilitate a faster and more rewarding gaming experience. I believe this can be done while also at least providing a path forward for the most dedicated players in the game's community, which Blizzard has been neglecting so far in the game's first month. High spenders are not going to want to walk around their server listening to crickets with no one to interact with, which is why all types of players are important to care about, because players leaving can cause a domino effect, which will dry up the gaming activity and the revenue. Diablo is a massive name and it's possible to get it fixed, but they better start soon before it's too late to get people back that have already checked out and moved on. So yeah, that was my article that I wrote on, is Diablo Immortal designed for long-term success, and my little concept here of trying to embed a video version of each article. We do have other articles written by great content creators. You can see we've got like Veiled Shot writing this blog here about the legendary gems tier list. We've got Scratch writing one for beginner tips. So we're gonna keep adding these constantly. I'm trying to up the flow of these coming in, and make sure other people are featuring their thoughts as well on the website, and see if anybody else wants to try the video concept of an article. If you like that, if you don't like it, definitely let me know. It's just something we're constantly kind of playing around with and trying to evolve. So that'll do it for me on this one. Hope you enjoyed. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.